I see a lot of resistant starch products starting to be sold within some health communities, like tortillas and bread and such. Are these better for us, or do they fall into the quality of life foods in any case and we can save our money?
Oh, well, the second one. But resistant starch is still cool. So resistant starch is a type of starch that is resistant to digestion. So aptly named. So it's actually a type of fiber. And resistant starch does feed really beneficial strains of bacteria in our digestive tracts. We naturally get resistant starch from whole starchy plant foods. So any whole starchy plant food, a whole grain, a legume, a root vegetable is going to have resistant starch. And we can increase the resistant starch content of those foods a couple of ways. So, for example, by cooking and then cooling increases the resistant starch content. So, we can cook our potato, cool it down, and then reheat it. And it doesn't matter, we can eat it cold or warm. If it's done that one cycle through temperature, it will have higher resistant starch content than if we ate it just cooked and straight out of the oven. So that's a cool way to get more resistant starch besides just like incorporating more of these foods. And there's some cool science showing that freezing can also increase resistant starch. So if you buy bread from the store, whether that is like a white bread or a whole grain bread, if you put it in the freezer and then pull it out, it will have higher resistant starch content. And one of the reasons why that is cool is when you convert some of the starch, so some of the starch that is accessible to our digestive enzymes, to resistant starch, you basically lower the glycemic impact of that food. So you will have now a food that doesn't trigger as high of a glycemic response in addition to feeding beneficial strains of gut bacteria. So resistant starch is very cool. And whether or not you want to add more resistant starch by getting cool products that have higher levels of resistant starch intake, it's kind of the same thing as whether or not it's beneficial to get the high protein or the high fiber versions of tortillas and bread. Like it kind of just depends on your priorities, what your whole diet looks like, and whether or not the added expense makes sense to you. So, am I gonna run out and go get high resistant starch products? No, I get plenty of resistant starch for my diet. I'm not worried about it at all. But as an option, kind of cool. I bet there's a lot of marketing around it that's probably not super accurately reflective of the science because that's the way a lot of these things work.